Hello, my name is Elisa Noël. I am 50 years old and I currently live in Paris, France. I am married and I have two children of 2 and 7 years old. I was born in South Korea and adopted to France when I was 7 months old, and I am here today to present my testimony regarding my irregular adoption and to ask for truth and justice. I was born on November 1975 in Seoul, but probably more likely in Naju, Jeollanam-do. I was adopted through a Holt agency in July 1976, and for most of my life, I was told there were no way to find my birth roots because in Korea, it was like I'd never existed before. I never tried to find my biological family until I was 30 years old. Later, I discovered that it was not true. My biological father's consent was not respected because he told me that as soon as he relinquished me the next day, he wanted to take me back, but he had been told that it was too late because he signed the papers. He had no more rights over me. These facts demonstrate that my adoption was conducted through illicit practices and not with full, informed, and ethical consent. I began learning the truth in 2007 when I went to meet my biological father 2 months prior to his death. He had been longing to meet me for so long. All of his life he had been broken because of this relinquishment, and unfortunately he couldn't have a normal life after that. The context is my biological mother gave birth at her mother's home in the suburbs of Seoul. I've told you that before. 2 weeks later, she died from septicemia. My father, devastated and poorly advised, as he later told me, I mentioned it before, was influenced when people told him he should send his daughters for the adoption. My first sister, my older sister, was 5. And she had already lost her mother from depression. My second sister, from the same mother as me, was only 2, and me, I was 2 weeks old. Unable to bring himself to surrender the 2 girls, my biological father relinquished only me to Holt. Being a widower for the second time made him desperate, overwhelmed, and vulnerable, a perfect target for an adoption agency. The very next day, as I said it before, he went back to get me. But as I said, he was told it was too late. He had signed a paper and had no longer any rights over me. He returned every single day until he was finally told that I had already been sent to France. It means from December 1975 to July 1976, so almost like 6 months, he went back every day. I had a copy of a waiver for adoption certificate issued under the name of a legal guardian, Chung Ha-bu, born on September 1st, 1943. It states that he was appointed guardian by the mayor of Seoul City. In the civil status registry extract, dated on March 5, 1976, it is written that the head of household is unknown, father unknown, and mother unknown. However, in the first email Holt sent me in 2007, they clearly wrote that my father had come regularly to ask for news about me, which made it easy for them to reopen my file. My Korean father's life was shattered by his forced relinquishment. He felt guilty for the rest of his life until he finally met me. This also deeply affected my 2 sisters. My Korean father had actually found me in 2000 before I found him through the Salvation Army. But my French mother refused to give me this information. I had to carry out my own search to discover the truth. I only became aware of the child trafficking issues in 2020, and I believe my adoption was a part of it. Today, I'm seeking justice and an official apology from South Korea. My father fought his entire life to find me. I have witnesses who can attest to this. And these illicit practices deeply affected my life in many ways. For years, I struggled with identity loss, emotional trauma, depression, sense of abandonment, disconnection from culture and roots. I rejected for years my Korean roots, and the lack of truth about my origin caused me frustration and anger sometimes for ruining the life of my biological father, but also the life of my two sisters. I eventually experienced a personal turning point when I became Christian, which helped me rebuild my sense of identity and hope. However, the long-term harm caused by the illicit nature of my adoptions remains significant. Today, I really respectfully ask the Commission for recognition of the illicit nature of my adoption, access to full and uncensored records, acknowledgement of the harm caused to me and my families, and support for administrative, legal, and psychological needs. I seek truth, official recognition, and measures that will help restore my dignity as the dignity of my family. I share my story not only for myself, but for many other adoptees who have suffered from similar practices, and my hope that my testimony contributes to preventing future abuses, creating ethical safeguards, acknowledging systemic wrongdoing, and supporting other survivors. Thank you for listening to my testimony. I hope that my voice will help bring truth and justice and healing for myself, for my family, and for many others affected by illicit adoption practices.
안녕하세요. 저는 해외로 입양된 프랑스인 엘리사 노엘의 한국 이름 김은선의 친언니 김은아입니다. 저와 엘리사는 2살 차이고요. 제 위로도 3살 차이 이복 언니가 있습니다. 엘리사는 태어난 지 2주 만에 저희 아빠와 떨어졌고, 저희 친어머니는 엘리사를 낳고 2주 만에 돌아가셨죠. 그런 상황이었기 때문에 아빠가 많이 힘들었던 상황이었습니다. 누구의 선택인지는 정확히 모르지만 누군가의 결정으로 엘리사는 해외로 프랑스로 입양을 가게 되었고요. 그 이후로 저희 아빠는 죄책감에 시달리면서 평생을 지내셨습니다. 아직도 기억이 생생한 건 제가 어렸을 때부터 너는 동생을 꼭 찾아야 된다. 동생을 찾아서 대화를 나눠야 된다. 그런 이야기를 하시면서 저에게 영어를 가르쳤었던 아빠의 모습이 기억이 납니다. 그러던 중에 평생을 그렇게 애타게 찾으셨던 덕인지 약 20년 전에 엘리사는 저희 가족을 찾게 되었고, 저희 아빠가 돌아가시기 직전에 엘리사를 만나는 행운이 있었습니다. 그 이후로 엘리사와 저희는 계속 왕래를 하면서 가족으로 지내고 있습니다. 저희는 그래도 운이 좋아서 입양간 동생을 찾았고 국내에 있는 가족들을 찾게 되었는데, 그렇지 못한 해외 입양자들이 많은 걸로 알고 있습니다. 이제는 더 이상은 누군가의 선택으로, 누군가의 잘못된 결정으로 가족이 흩어지거나 해외 입양아가 되어서 고통을 받지 않았으면 좋겠습니다. 해외 입양자들의 행복한 삶을 응원합니다. 감사합니다.